I just got off work when I received a call from my boyfriend's brother, saying my boyfriend had been rushed to the hospital. I quickly asked him, "How is he?" Samuel stammered, "Don't worry, he's awake. He just got a concussion from getting hit by a basketball. But it seems like he's forgotten about you." Forgot me? I rushed to the hospital and was just about to step into the ward when I suddenly heard Leo's voice rise sharply. "What boyfriend?" "I'm straight, totally, % straight." "Don't joke like that with him. I can't possibly be dating a guy," Samuel said quietly. Well, being amnesiac really makes you tough. Finally got to forget all those days of being someone's doormat. Ha! Get lost. I'm straight, a total straight guy. Don't joke around like that. From the way he's talking, it really looks like he's forgotten me and still finds me disgusting too. I pushed open the slightly ajar hospital room door. Leo, sitting up in bed, turned toward me at the sound. His black hair fell messily over his forehead, a slight frown on his face, and every inch of him screamed careless rebellion. The moment he saw me, all his attitude just died down instantly. His annoyed expression froze on his face, and his eyes went wide. It reminded me a lot of the first time I saw him at that bar. He was sitting at the bar, drinking by himself, completely out of place among everyone else. But he had an extremely striking face. People kept trying to strike up a conversation with him, and men too. Leo opened his mouth and instantly gave someone a scolding, asking if they'd ever considered donating their eyes to someone in need. I just happened to lose a card game with my friends, so they pushed me to go flirt with Leo. Fair enough. I lost, so I had to pay up. I sat down next to Leo and said, "Hey, can we get to know each other?" Leo furrowed his brows, turned to look at me, froze for a second, then a strange blush spread across his cheeks. "Oh, sure. Okay then." We talked for a long time and swapped contact info. Our friends were all stunned. We figured that was the end of it, nothing more to come. Turns out, we ended up together after all. Now Leo was sitting on the hospital bed, staring straight at me, blushing hard. He stammered out, "Are you my boyfriend?" His attitude had completely flipped around. Samuel turned to look at Leo's expression, shocked. I hadn't even had a chance to speak up. "I'm really sorry, but I've lost my memory and don't remember some things about being with you. Still, I'm not the kind of guy who'd just walk away. He fumbled a bit, clearly embarrassed. I raised an eyebrow and cut him off. "You're overthinking it. I'm not your boyfriend." He froze for a second. "Wait, really?" Samuel said my boyfriend was coming to visit me. "Wasn't it you? He was just messing around." He turned to look at Samuel right away, who quickly glanced between us. Then he gave a nervous laugh. Yeah, I was just kidding." Leo didn't seem to notice anything off. Probably because, in his current mindset, he genuinely couldn't imagine being into another guy. The doctor said it was temporary memory loss from the concussion. His memories had gone back to 2 years ago. That was when he was a freshman in college. Back then, we hadn't met yet. To avoid overwhelming this no-nonsense guy right now, I decided to keep quiet about our relationship for the time being. Samuel had the same idea. Anyway, he'll remember eventually. Leo sat up straight, his eyes bright and clear, staring right at me like a model student. He looked like a well-behaved student, so he really did lose his memory. Back then, even a small scrape on his elbow was enough to make him hold it up in front of me, demanding I fuss over him and comfort him properly. He should have been rushing into my arms by now. Not this awkward reaction at all. He shyly asked, "So who are you?" I said, "I'm your roommate." One ran. His eyes lit up. "So we're classmates then?" "No. I'm already working. You're renting my apartment." Leo blinked. Then his face flushed again, spreading all the way to his ears. There was an odd kind of shyness about it. "Oh, so we're cohabiting then?" No wonder I felt such a connection the moment I saw you. I lifted one corner of my lips. "Is that right?" Samuel shut his eyes briefly, as if he couldn't bear to look. I brought Leo home with amnesia, a spacious riverside penthouse in the city's prime district with an open view and minimalist decor. Leo was speechless, murmuring, "Do I really even afford a place like this?" I smiled and said, "It's not as expensive as you think. Plus, you'll cover the rent by doing housework." Leo blinked a few times, his mind clearly racing with thoughts, then quietly glanced at me before quickly looking away. "You're really kind. Thanks for the compliment." I headed to the kitchen to start start dinner, and he followed right behind, trying to steal my spot as head chef. After I turned him down, he just lingered nearby, helping out with small tasks. He was like a little dog circling its owner, seeking attention. Dinner was spaghetti. I instinctively scooped a bit of sauce onto my spoon and called Leo over to taste it. "How's it taste? Is it too bland?" He took a bite, his eyes lighting up. "Delicious. You really know how to cook." "Honestly, I only know how to make simple meals. Leo's way better at cooking than me, so he's usually the one in charge of the kitchen. I only cook once in a while, and he always goes on about it like it's a masterpiece." I couldn't help but laugh and scooped up a spoonful to try myself. The flavor was just right. Leo froze for a second, his face turning crimson in an instant, staring at me, putting the spoon into my mouth. The very one he'd just used. His eyes were locked on my lips, flustered and uncertain, as if he wanted to look away but couldn't bring himself to do it. His ears even turned red. I looked at him. "What is it?" He seemed to want to say something, then just pressed his lips shut and said nothing. Nothing at all. He just kept staring at my mouth, silently blushing, out of habit. I didn't notice anything odd. We've kissed so many times already. What's the big deal? After dinner, I finished brushing my teeth and poured myself a glass of water. Leo had already washed the dishes. I took a slow look around at the things in the house. A lot of these items were added after Leo moved in. To me, home had always just been a place to sleep. Nothing special about it, but now, kind of felt different. I paused for a moment, lost in thought, suddenly remembered I hadn't taken my dirty clothes out of the bathroom, turned back and went straight to the bathroom again. The moment I opened the door, there was Leo, just about to take a shower. I swung the door open suddenly, catching him off guard. His eyes flew wide open, stunned and flustered as he stared at me. His arms and legs didn't know where to go, looking utterly awkward and dazed. I looked up at Leo and gave a sheepish smile. "Sorry about that. I didn't know you were in here." "It's all right." Leo stood in the corner, his face flushed with embarrassment. I picked up the laundry basket and spotted Leo's clothes lying beside it. I said, "I'll just wash your clothes while I'm at it." Leo was so embarrassed he could have crawled into a hole in the ground, and yet I stayed calm as ever, like it wasn't a big deal at all. "Okay. Thanks." He handed me the clothes. His face still carried a faint blush as he bit his lip, fidgeting slightly before saying, "I know you actually have feelings for me, don't you? Otherwise, you wouldn't have let me rent such an expensive apartment. We even shared a spoon during dinner and you washed my clothes." The more he said, the redder his ears turned. He was clearly making up all kinds of things in his head. "Even though you've been really nice to me, I just feel like things are moving a bit too fast. I've never actually dated anyone before, so I'm not even sure what I'm doing." I couldn't hold it in anymore and let out a sudden laugh. Leo froze, fell silent, his eyes full of questions. I suppressed my smile and explained, "Relax, I'm not after you or anything. I rented the place to you because money isn't a big deal for me. And besides, you've been helping with chores around here. Sharing that spoon earlier was totally my bad. Won't happen again. And washing your clothes? Just something I did on the side." Leo froze, feeling both embarrassed and flustered. Once he processed what I'd said, his face turned pale, then red, then back to pale again. It was like a firework display. After shutting the door, I could still hear Leo's muffled, frustrated voice from inside. He was probably too embarrassed to even know where to hide. Leo used to stay in the spare room when he first moved in, acting all shy about sharing a room with me, still playing the gentleman, trying to be mysterious when we've just started dating. He didn't last long before showing his true colors and just stayed in my bed without wanting to leave. But the spare room had always been made up, with some of his stuff already there. I used to read a little before bed, but after Leo moved in, I switched to doing light exercise instead. Now I've had to pick up that old reading habit again. Just then, someone knocked on the door. Leo's voice came through the door. "My room's light seems to be broken. Do you have a spare one?" I glanced at the desk lamp beside the bed. "Take my lamp. I'll get someone to replace it tomorrow." "Sure." The moment the words left my mouth, the door swung open. Leo wouldn't look at me, keeping his eyes down as he stepped forward. his ears bright red, giving away how flustered he really was. He was probably still embarrassed about what happened earlier. He glanced at me nervously, then quickly scanned the room around him. There was a bottle of red wine and 2 glasses sitting on the table by the floor-to-ceiling window. It was clear someone else had been in the room not long ago. Drinking in the bedroom meant the relationship was definitely more than just casual. Leo had been holding it in for a while, but finally blurted out, "Do you have a boyfriend?" His expression didn't look good. The evidence was undeniable, and I admitted it without hesitation. "Yeah, I've got a boyfriend. He's out of town on business right now." I didn't want Leo to overthink it, so I added a reassuring word. "So you can relax. There's no way I'd ever do anything to you. He's definitely straight, after all." But I didn't expect his expression to stay unchanged. If anything, he seemed even more downcast. His face was tight, his back straight, standing rigid like a statue, clutching the lamp. He pressed his lips together, words stuck in his throat. In the end, he only managed to say one thing: "I see." Then he picked up the lamp and left. You couldn't tell anything was off. Maybe he finally felt relieved. I went back to reading my book, but less than 10 minutes later, he stormed back in. The door flew open again, slammed by him in a rage. Leo's shoulders were heaving, his face flushed red, lips pressed into a tight line. "Don't try to fool me. I already know everything." I raised an eyebrow, surprised, but not by much. Honestly, the lie was pretty obvious. "Oh, not bad. You're actually sharp." I closed the book and looked at him, pulling off my glasses. "All right then, what's on your mind?" Leo clenched his fists, the words clearly hard for him to speak. "Actually, I'm being supported by you, right? And I'm the other man, isn't that it?" "What?" I was slightly stunned. "Why on earth would you think that?" Leo gave a look like he'd figured it all out, speaking with confidence. "I couldn't afford to rent such an expensive place, and it's only the 2nd month of summer break. I have no reason to be here unless your boyfriend was away on a trip, so you brought me over to sneak around with you. During dinner, I just naturally used the same spoon as you. And when you looked at my body, it was like you'd seen it all before. No surprise at all." I suddenly found myself thinking he actually had a point. I couldn't even imagine what kind of mental storm he'd gone through out there in just 10 minutes. I was still silent, not sure what to say. He jumped in with the answer before I could even speak. His eyes were red, every word he spoke sounding like an accusation. "You're right, aren't you? You've already gotten tired of me, lost interest, so now you're trying to ditch me while I'm amnesic." The more he spoke, the more upset he got. Almost like he was about to point at my face and call me a jerk. "You've been with me all this time, and now you're trying to ditch me while I'm still recovering from amnesia?" He stated it so firmly, staring at me hard, as if he knew everything and wasn't letting me get away with a lie. Our eyes locked. I let out a sigh. "Looks like you already know everything. I guess there's nothing more to say." Leo looked stunned, as if struck by lightning. He'd guessed it already, but hearing me say it out loud still felt hard to believe. Then he stormed over to the floor-to-ceiling window and grabbed the remaining half bottle of red wine, draining it in one go. Staring at me for a long time, he finally said, "I'm your lover. Don't even think about getting rid of me." Leo leaned against my shoulder and murmured softly, "Break up with your boyfriend and be with me, okay? You don't pass up a chance to tease someone like that." I exhaled a smoke ring, and through the haze, I caught his loving gaze. Whenever I light up, he always stares at me like that before shyly leaning in. "You're really beautiful." I reached out with one hand and brushed my thumb across his cheek. I gave a small smirk. "Can't happen. I only love my boyfriend. You've got to keep it secret, or if he finds out, I'll have to end things with you." He was annoyed but couldn't say a word. "Then you can only have me as your little third." He gets really jealous. He spent the whole day comparing himself to the boyfriend I keep talking about. First, he showed off his body, subtly at first, then more openly. Then came the cooking showcase. He said, "I'm the one who handles all the cooking at home. I don't smoke, I don't drink, and I don't play games. Most importantly, my focus is on family. I'd never go on business trips, so there's no chance for anyone else to get in." I raised an eyebrow and said, "But aren't you the one who took advantage of that opening?" He just shrugged it off calmly. "That's exactly why I'm better than him. Giving someone a chance was his mistake, not mine. I wouldn't make that kind of error." His attitude started from being completely uncomfortable with the idea of being the other woman. Then, after struggling with it, he finally accepted it. Now he faces it head on, learns from it, and waits for his next chance to rise. I have to admit, he adapts really well. He even bought 2 novels to read. both about the other woman climbing her way up. He studied them carefully and even took notes. He compared everything to my boyfriend. I could handle it for a day or two at night. He never let up, day and night, chasing after me, not stopping during the day either. How was I supposed to take that? But there's no way I'd beg a young kid like him. My smoking started to slow down. Leo was watching me impatiently right beside me. He couldn't bear to miss a moment, yet he was clearly desperate. Can you smoke faster? Otherwise, I'll be doing my thing while you're still lighting up. You know what my boyfriend does best. He pouted slightly but couldn't help asking, what's that? He knows how to hold back. Leo scowled for a moment, then said to me, I can't beat him at that. I'm your little lover, and that's exactly what I'm here for. I can dodge it during weekdays, but once the weekend hits, I have to go home and get checked. So I decided to take Leo out for a trip. He had great stamina and was full of energy. Taking him out felt just like taking a puppy for a walk. He made me watch him play basketball too. Said he wanted to show off his youthful, vibrant charm as a college guy. Samuel was dragged out by him. They were really into it on the basketball court in the park. And Leo still found time to show off for me. After watching for a bit, I decided to head to the supermarket to buy some drinks for them. When I came back from the store, I heard someone calling my name. Win ran. I turned around and saw a man in a shirt and black pants smiling at me, his nose high-bridged and his demeanor gentle. Really you? I just moved here recently. What a coincidence. I nodded, noticing the bag he was holding. It looked like he'd just come back from the supermarket too. Yeah, pretty good. I didn't say much and wasn't really good at small talk. Jonathan gave a soft, resigned smile with warm eyes. You're still the same. Can't you say a little more? We're not strangers. After all, I'm your ex-boyfriend. You know, I met Jonathan through work back then. We were on opposite sides of the client-agency relationship. We matched each other perfectly and hit it off right away. It just naturally turned into friendship, and then our relationship followed in the same smooth way. We'd known each other for 3 years and been together for over a year. The breakup happened because he was transferred overseas. He wanted me to go with him, but I said no. I didn't try to persuade him to stay either. That night, we drank and talked like friends. Then I went back to my room to sleep. He left with his suitcase in tow. Our breakup happened just as naturally as it had begun. I asked him, why did you come back? Did you take a vacation? Jonathan shook his head and said, I quit my job. Why? He smiled at me and said, because I realized I'd ended up giving up the most important gift in my life for it. I looked at him and told him, I have a boyfriend now. Jonathan paused for a moment, but didn't seem too surprised. He didn't say anything in response. Instead, he reached out to gently push back a few strands of hair that had fallen over my forehead. I turned my head away. His hand froze for a moment. Then he gave a helpless smile. Do we really have to be this distant? I haven't reached out because I'm afraid the moment you speak to me, I'll regret it and end up rushing back to you. I left, but you didn't try to stop me, all the way until I was gone. I kept wondering if I meant nothing to you at all. I paused for a moment, then said, it's not distance. It's just that we should keep our space. I have a boyfriend now. I didn't reply to what he said. Jonathan let out a faint, wry laugh. So that's how it is. The basketball court suddenly erupted into noise. I turned around and saw that Leo and Samuel had stopped playing basketball. Instead, they were standing by the fence, watching us. Leo's face was tense, his eyes sharp and cold. His stare could have bored a hole through Jonathan, yet he didn't move forward. Samuel jabbed him with his elbow, as if urging him to step in. Leo frowned and muttered something at him. Samuel was wide-eyed, stunned into shouting out loud, Dude, man, you never told me you were gonna be the third one. Leo tugged at him, and Samuel lowered his voice. This time, instead of pushing back, he pulled like he was trying to hold Leo back from going. Jonathan turned his head at the sound and caught sight of Leo glaring at him with pure hostility. Is he your boyfriend? Yeah. Jonathan arched a brow and said to me, Can I come over to your place for dinner tonight? Just so we can catch up. I didn't say anything. Jonathan lowered his eyes, sounding pitiful. Honestly, my place still doesn't have a stove. I've been eating out every day since I got back. It's kind of sad. Can't you at least let me come over? We're still friends, right? I sighed. Just this once. He lit up instantly. All right, I walked over to the basketball court and handed the water bottles to Leo and the others. I asked, "Why aren't you playing anymore?" Leo shot Jonathan a quick glance, then muttered through clenched teeth, "Who can keep playing after getting ambushed at home like that?" Samuel quickly grabbed his arm and laughed nervously. "He's just joking. Really, he's just kidding." I introduced them to each other. "This is Jonathan. These are Leo and Samuel." Jonathan already knew Leo was my boyfriend, so I didn't go into much detail. After all, Leo's still stuck in the second lead role, kind of like a supporting player in someone else's drama. Jonathan nodded politely and smiled in greeting. Leo just gave him a dismissive look. Samuel jumped in to smooth things over, saying Leo's always been this grumpy since he was little. Jonathan nodded, showing he understood. I'd driven here myself. Leo went straight for the passenger seat. Samuel nearly froze in shock. He frantically tugged at Leo, but the latter didn't budge. So Samuel and Jonathan ended up in the back seat together. Leo said to them, "Sorry, I get carsick. I'd be more comfortable in the front seat." Jonathan smiled faintly. "No problem. It's just that the passenger seat has always been mine, so it feels a bit strange now." Leo tightened his lips and gave a slight pull at the corner of his mouth. "So you can handle back seat just fine while I'm stuck with this spot." Jonathan smiled but said nothing. I was a little surprised, my lips curving upward slightly. Didn't expect Leo to be this sharp. The air grew a bit tense. Samuel, in the back, wiped his forehead furiously and tried to lighten the mood. He just really likes sitting in the front seat. Nothing more to it. Then he kept typing messages to Leo nonstop, bombarding his phone with one message after another. After getting home, Jonathan seemed a bit dazed. Things have changed so much. They really had, compared to when I left. Back then, my place was cold and empty, like a model apartment. I didn't care about that kind of thing. Jonathan was always considerate and never overstepped. But then Leo moved in. He was constantly going on about buying flowers, a rocking chair, and all sorts of weird little trinkets. He laid down carpets and planted flowers all over the cold model apartment, turning it into something warm and lived in. Jonathan looked down, rolled up his sleeves with a gentle smile, and said, "Can't just eat for free. I'll cook tonight. Will you help me?" I frowned slightly. "No need. I can handle it myself." He cut me off. "It was just supposed to be once, right? Just go along with me this time. This one last time." He gave a small smile and walked straight toward the kitchen. He didn't even step into the living room, like he couldn't bear to see it. I turned around and headed straight for the bathroom. I was about to go help in the kitchen later. It'd be rude to leave a guest alone while cooking. Just as I finished washing my hands, the bathroom door swung open. I was a little surprised. "What are you doing in here? Where's Samuel?" Leo's face turned pale, and as soon as he walked in, he pulled me into a tight hug. His jealousy poured out in waves, mixed with quiet reproach. He didn't even pause to answer my question. He left. He stared at me, his eyes burning with jealousy, voice hoarse as he said, "Isn't that who you like? Then why did you come to me in the first place? Now that he's back, you don't even want to look at me or kiss me anymore, right? Am I wrong? Do you really love him that much?" "I love you so damn much. Just for you, I became the other man. And I had to endure watching you flirt with him while I'm stuck with no name, no status, not even daring to hit him, all because I'm terrified you'd leave me." I'm about ready to snap. Looks like the jealousy jar just got knocked over. The thrill of sneaking around had flooded his system with dopamine. Breaths mingling, skin pressed tight against skin. The deep, husky sound of his voice sent shivers through me. His lashes lowered slightly as he looked at my lips, red and slightly swollen from being kissed. "I don't mind you having a boyfriend, but he can't stand the idea of you having an affair. Isn't it obvious who loves you more?" I tilted my lips up slightly and said, "Yeah, but I already told you. I only love my boyfriend." Leo's eyes darkened with a sudden chill as he gritted out, "Fine," with a stormy expression. He turned and walked out of the bathroom. I froze for just a second, then burst into laughter. What was this weird thrill all about? To ease the jealousy that had been spilled, just as he wished, I ended up helping out in the kitchen. Jonathan's smile froze halfway through before it could fully form. To him, it looked like my boyfriend was staking a claim. I didn't mind at all that he thought so. The only one left in the dark was Leo. Jonathan acted as if he didn't notice, and we cooked together just like before. still keeping our distance. It was just a helper and head chef kind of arrangement. Leo kept popping into the kitchen now and then, as if checking up on me and Jonathan. Once dinner was served, Jonathan took the seat beside me. Leo had to sit across from me. Jonathan said, "It's been ages since we ate together. Out there, I'm always alone, thinking about you all the time." Oh, he was reminiscing about the past. I wasn't paying any attention at all, because the guy across from me had already brushed his foot against my inner calf. Leo calmly scooped some food onto my plate, smiling as he said, "Try this. Do you think the vegetables are a bit overcooked? I always prefer them tender, don't you?" On the surface, he was talking about the dish, but really, he meant people. Jonathan wasn't dumb enough to miss it. Jonathan smiled faintly. "William, you're quite amusing. When I was your age, I was already bored out of my mind and had rushed into the company right after graduation. After all, building up capital gives you real confidence." Leo's brow twitched. He just couldn't keep his composure. If he kept quiet much longer, he'd probably end up flipping the table. I stepped in with a smile. "It's just different choices. Whatever makes you happy is fine. Leo always says that, just be happy. People's hearts are naturally biased. When you love someone, everything about them just seems perfect." Jonathan froze for a second, then lowered his eyes with a quiet smile. "Is that really how it is?" He didn't say anything more, but he understood what I meant. Leo was practically glowing with pride, passing me bits of this and that from the plate every other second. If he were really the third party, that smug attitude would have gotten him punched long ago. After dinner, Jonathan didn't stay long. I walked him to the foyer. Leo was watching from a spot that wasn't too close, not too far away. He thought he was hiding well, but it was obvious he was keeping an eye on him. He probably wondered why Jonathan hadn't stayed behind. He looked so curious and hopeful, probably thinking I was breaking up with Jonathan. Jonathan glanced at him, a faint, wistful smile tugging at his lips. He said, "You've changed a lot because of him, right?" I gave that silly guy who was sneaking looks at me a quick glance. He immediately turned away when he caught me looking, pretending to examine the wall instead. I said, "Isn't he cute?" Jonathan's deep eyes held a mix of bitterness and helplessness. He said, "I just want to know, if it were him, would you choose to stay with him or try to hold on?" He was still stuck on that question. Maybe he thought not choosing to stay with him or trying to keep him was cold-hearted on my part. But I know one thing for sure, we're both adults now. We each have our own careers to build and our own goals to chase. I won't give up on my own life, and I don't want to hold him back either. Going our separate ways is honestly the best choice. But when it comes to Leo, I suddenly don't know how to answer at all. Just as I was still hesitating, my hand was suddenly taken by Leo, who'd quietly appeared beside me. His expression was firm, and his eyes sparkled like they held 1,000 stars. "Your path doesn't need to change for me. I'll circle around him like the moon orbits the sun. I won't put him in a position where he has to choose. Someone who truly cares doesn't need to be taught." I just stood there, stunned for a long moment. My heart was pounding like a drum. Jonathan's expression suddenly froze, as if he finally understood something. He let out a relieved smile. I see now I lost." Just before leaving, he said, "I hope you two are happy." I didn't try to stop him then, and he wasn't strong enough to stay. But Leo was different. After Jonathan left, I turned around and saw Leo, his face flushed red, eyes sparkling as he held my hand. "You picked me, right?" I raised an eyebrow and said, "Yeah, so you better behave." "Got it." He hugged me tightly, his beautiful almond-shaped eyes filled with joy. "I'm so happy. I knew you loved me the most." After that, he was glued to me all day long, claiming it was so I wouldn't have time to think about anyone else. Knowing he'd come in as the third party, he set up a shield around me like that. He's been guarding me tightly. No chance for anyone else at all. I think he's going too far. Not everyone even likes me. You know, he said I had no clue. He fell for me the very first time he saw me in the hospital. After that, it was all just playing hard to get. The good thing was, Leo regained his memory 2 weeks later. The first thing he did after recovering was blush and come at me with a playful scolding. "How could you do something like that?" I raised an eyebrow and chuckled. "What did I do? I just said we're roommates. You were the one who brought up third party. Who knows what's going on in your head?" Leo realized it was his own overthinking, and when I pointed it out, he turned even redder. He stammered, "Well, you couldn't have done this to me. I was terrified you'd push me away." I even kept Samuel from coming near you. I asked him why he never thought he could be my boyfriend instead of doubting he was the third party. I thought I wasn't good enough for you, so I never even considered that possibility. I laughed again, giving him a mischievous look. So you really think being the third party fits you better? Then go ahead and stay one. Leo looked both embarrassed and annoyed, immediately protesting. I don't want that. I'm your boyfriend, not some third party. No way am I letting there be a third person.